We have come to our main event topic of the week. Man, this episode has been fun. And
It has.
getting through this main event topic is going to be a little bit crazy, too, because I have really strong feelings about this. I feel like this is the 21st century version of something that has always been happening in our the tapestry of society, and we will talk about that. But we are talking about OnlyFans, and not necessarily the viability of OnlyFans as a career, although that is going to be something Katie and I talk about, but also whether it should be legal for a career to essentially fire somebody for having an OnlyFans account. This is called workplace discrimination, or what was it that I found? Employment discrimination. That's what it's called. Employment discrimination. And so I am kind of on both sides of the fence here before we even
Yeah.
begin. I can understand why perhaps a business would not be very, or a business, or I mean, really, a lot of the times what we're seeing is schools that are dropping a public teacher because they have an OnlyFans. For some reason, that seems to make the news more than other careers dropping people. I don't know
Yeah.
why that is. I have an inclination as to why that is, or speculation, and it's simply because teachers don't make as much freaking money, so they have to supplement their income, which is a completely separate issue, which we should
Yeah.
honestly be taking care of that as well. But
Mhm.
for some reason, I'm sure Katie has seen this too. That seems to make the news more than, say, a factory worker, right?
Oh yeah.
With an OnlyFans. It's
Yeah.
always a teacher that you see
I
on the
don't
news.
think I have seen an article that like this person got fired from their job because of OnlyFans unless it's a teacher. That's the only ones I've
Right.
seen.
And so I have three picked out that I'm going to kind of pour over a little bit here, or not three, but two. The first one is again, it's just freaking British Columbia. Actually, I do have indeed three of these. Actually, now that I think about it, the first one was a teacher who resigned, and I'm very well familiar with this teacher, not because I'm part of her OnlyFans account, but because there is, I believe, a documentary about her on one of the streaming platforms, which I have seen. And that's where I got the idea for this topic for the show. I thought this would be a good discussion. But her name is Brianna Coppage. She's 28 years old, and she is in the. Let me see here. I believe she was. Yeah, she had a high school teaching job. She was in Missouri. Okay, I'll just read the damn article. How about that? A Missouri based OnlyFans model who resigned from her high school teaching job when her adult video platform was exposed has been fired just days after starting a new gig. Okay? Now, Brianna Coppage, who is 28, barely made it a full work week as a community support specialist at Compass Health before her new bosses discovered her OnlyFans account, claiming she, quote, violated social media policy, unquote. She said that she lasted 5 days before they put her on leave and subsequently fired her um, again after only a full work week. Coppage claims, and here's the issue that I have with this particular story. She claims that
Mhm.
she was open and truthful about all her past job experiences and the reasons for leaving, but they only did the digital background check after they offered her the job. Quote, they admitted that they didn't call my references or Google me before they hired me, Coppage added. They claim that I violated their social media policy but will not respond to me with how I violated it. So in this particular case, she was a high school teacher, which is not a very glamorous job. She's not getting paid a lot for that. So in order to
Yeah.
survive, she's a good-looking woman. So she gets a OnlyFans account, which if you're not familiar with OnlyFans, OnlyFans is a subscription-based model for typically it's porn-related content that is behind a paywall. Typically, I say
Mhm.
typically because it's not all porn related. There
Yeah,
is PG and less related content on OnlyFans.
like
Some
cooking shit
Yeah,
and all kinds of
some
shit like
people
that.
do use it like a Patreon, and it works well for that. And so that's the stigma that OnlyFans gets as well, because a lot of people use it as a porn related paywall.
Hmm.
And that's what this lady was doing. She was using it as a supplemental income. And she stayed being a teacher, A, because she was really good at it, and B, she really loved it, right? But she wasn't making enough as a teacher to pay her bills. So there's a lot of different issues at play here. But this particular story is about a new job. Again, she resigned from her teacher's job because essentially they made her choose between her OnlyFans career and her teaching job. The school district made her choose. And so she chose OnlyFans. I mean,
Because she probably makes more
she's
money.
making six figures at least at OnlyFans. But she still wants to work, right? So I mean, which is cool. A lot of places to go with this. Now, the new place is doing background checks on their employees after they hire them. That's the first issue. What are you doing, bro? What is the whole point of an application, an interview process, and all of that? And then you offer them the job, they take the job, and then you do the background check.
Yeah, that's fucked.
Yeah, that sounds like a lawsuit to me, and it sounds like she's going to do quite well on that lawsuit. Because, yeah, that's not how that shit works. So that's the
No.
first story. The next one I wanted to talk about, because, again, the stigma is that this is always young girls. It's always really good-looking women that are essentially selling their wares. That's not me saying that. That's essentially people that have the most criticism for them, that they're selling their bodies and blah, 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 blah. But no, that's not indeed the case. Here's my second story. Wisconsin University chancellor is fired over an ongoing porn career with his wife as quote unquote sexy happy couple. That was the name of their OnlyFans. Okay. Now, Joe Gow is a former chancellor of the University of Wisconsin in La Crosse, Wisconsin, said his termination, violates his First Amendment rights and the school's own policy of freedom of expression. The longtime chancellor has been fired after his porn career with his wife came to light. Joe Gow, who has been chancellor since 2007, was terminated Wednesday. This is back in December of 23, by the way, by the University of Wisconsin's System Board of Regents and placed on paid administrative leave effective immediately. However, as the tenured faculty member, Gow will eventually return to work in a faculty role. He had announced this year that he wanted to move back into teaching as a communications professor. Now, university officials learned that Gow and his wife, former UWLA La Crosse professor Carmen Wilson, had been making pornographic videos together and published 2 books together about making adult films. Now, while the couple used pen names for their 2 published books on Amazon, which are called Married with Benefits, Our Real-Life Adult Industry Adventures, and Monogamy with Benefits, How Porn Enriches Our Relationship, they weren't very secretive about their adult entertainment endeavors. They used their real photos on social media profiles where they went by the moniker Sexy Happy Couple. Their social media pages also advertised their videos as available on Pornhub and OnlyFans. Now, on their Amazon profile, they describe themselves as a married couple who serve in executive positions at 2 well-known organizations in the U.S. On X, their bio read, passionate plant-powered couple cooking, conversing, and shooting with top adult video stars. Visit our loyal fans and OnlyFans sites for fully explicit scenes. They also have a YouTube channel under the same name that appears to show cooking videos with adult film stars. And their books were published in 2016 and 2018. Gow said his termination is a violation of his First Amendment rights to freedom of speech and expression. He says, I think it's very shocking that the Board of Regents would completely disregard my First Amendment rights and my wife's First Amendment rights, and also their own policy on freedom of expression and freedom of speech, he said. This is very unexpected. I wanted this story out there, too, because this couple is in their 60s. All right? Very important that people understand.
Well, no.
Go ahead.
You said college professor, right? Or
Yeah.
college.
Yeah.
So I will note.
Not just a professor, but a chancellor.
Chancellor, that's what you said.
Yep.
So also that, because I know a big argument with the teachers is going to be the children. Everyone in a college is of age. Usually.
I mean, it's not a good argument. I mean, no. It truly isn't, because, number one...
That's going to be a lot of people's argument, so...
And that's fine. So here's the deal, right? If your child is being taught by Brianna Coppage, I believe is her name.
Yeah.
And that child somehow finds that teacher's OnlyFans, it's because you have failed as a parent.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And so, essentially, what you were trying to say is, I don't want my failure as a parent to possibly happen, so we must get rid of her. Now, there are also teachers of the opposite gender out there, male teachers, that are also on OnlyFans. Katie, how many articles did you find of a male teacher being fired for being on OnlyFans?
None.
Not one, right?
Mm-mm.
That's curious to me. Now, at the top of this segment, when we started this, I was very vocal in saying that this is essentially the 21st century version of something that's been happening for a very, very long time, right? Mm-hmm. So for as long as I can remember, teachers have been supplementing their income in other ways other than teaching. Would you agree with that, Katie?
Oh, yeah.
It's called stripping, right? I mean, I'm just keeping it real. It's unfortunate, but this is what this is. OnlyFans is essentially the 21st century version of being in a strip club. The difference is this is digital, right? So for me, I feel like OnlyFans is better because it's safer for the woman. It's safer for the consumer. There's never any contact, so there's not, very infrequently will there be violence involved, where you get that a lot in a stripping environment. So it's definitely safer for the woman, safer for the guys that are doing it as well, because if you do go on OnlyFans, there's a lot of dudes on there as well, doing the same thing. And as long as there's a market for this kind of thing, then people are going to make a career out of it. And it just bothers me that places feel the need to not keep those things separate.
Yeah.
Places meaning the schools in the most point. But like,
you
know, I can understand that schools and other employers as well are kind of adding this social media kind of thing into their policies now.
Yeah.
So you really have to be careful when you go into a job and read, because whether you like to believe it or not, employers do not like freedom of speech, and they do not like freedom of expression.
No.
You know?
I remember I had one job where, like, it was monitored. Mine was. Not like monitored, but, like, they'd go look at it, you know, a lot. Mm-hmm. Like, there was this one chick that she was, like, never coming into work and saying, yeah, I'm just sick. When she went out the night before and she was hungover, always got caught because social media.
Yeah, and I feel like that should be against the law. You know? That's just
keep your nose where it fucking belongs.
Well, I mean, again, you know, like the example you just gave, like, we're kind of going off the tracks a little bit, but I feel like that should be against the law. Like, if I call in sick, that's between me and you. Like, that's, you know, like, the policy is typically, like, if I tell you I'm sick and I'm not feeling well and I can't come into work, and then you find out that I went out the night before, that's neither here nor there. Because I went out the night before on my own fucking time. And if I went out the night before and that's what caused me to be sick this morning, that's why I can't come into work, that's not your business either, employer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, going in and stalking somebody's social media, this seems pretty cringe to me.
I think it's a touchy subject, just because of like where a lot of people sit on it. Me, I don't really give a flying fuck. I don't really care about much. Just live your life. I'm gonna live mine. I don't really care about anything else. I will say, it concerns me. It really does. I would be fucking terrified to be, not even regardless of the content, the people. Like,
yeah,
I saw not that long ago, like, where this one chick, she had OnlyFans, and she had this one guy that was just following her around all the time, and like ended up finding out like where she was, and like, kind of shit like that. That's fucking scary. Because
So,
at least like at strip clubs and stuff, you have like bouncers, you have like these people. Now there is a lot of shit that happens, right? But you have people trying to prevent that. When it's one-on-one interaction with somebody,
it is much
that's scary.
scarier at a strip club. Trust me.
No, I'm sure.
Because a
But
couple
I
of
don't know
reasons for that is number one, everything's localized, right? So every single person you're seeing in your shift as a stripper is somebody who lives close, right? And it doesn't take them much to just wait until after work and follow your ass home, right?
Yeah.
So at the same time, I get what you're saying, that it is very scary as well when you're on the internet. But a lot of these OnlyFans models, both male and female, again, are taking very careful steps of never showing their face, for one. Obviously, they're never giving their addresses, or a lot of them are not giving their real names, things like that. I am by no means a popular OnlyFans model, but I have been a full-time content creator and streamer since 2018, and it is very important that I never tell what town I live in, never mind my address.
Yeah.
Because I have been stalked. You would not believe this, Kadie. I have been stalked. I am a 47-year-old fat guy with a frickin' salt and pepper beard, and for 5 years I've been stalked by the same people. I will just say that. So yes, it is very scary. And and that's just me, who's nobody.
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like what gets me on like one or the other, you never know what's on the other side of the phone.
That's right.
Like, you can have, especially like with these people with weird ass fetishes and shit, like girls that look like barely teenagers. You know what I'm saying? Like that's gross. I'm sorry, because we all know like these 70-year-old men are out here. That's what gets me on that.
And that's
shit.
leading to trafficking shit, right? Human trafficking is because of that. That's a major reason. Is because of men wanting to see young women, child pornography, shit like that.
And now it feels more like, at least at a strip club, when you go to a strip club, there's other people there. There's other people that are going to see you, like in your town or whatever.
Right.
Here.
Yep.
Like, that's what's freaky about it. I'm sorry. Like, I could never.
Have you ever seen the TV show Heroes? Well, one of the characters on there is essentially doing stuff like an OnlyFans kind of thing. And she gets found out. Like somebody shows up, essentially. And so that's just a microcosm of what some of these girls and guys deal with. It is terrifying, absolutely.
I think that's what gets me the most, like, on the difference. Is that, I mean, God, not only that, like at a strip club, there's gonna be like a certain amount of people, right? This is like millions and millions of people a lot of time. Like, I'm not saying, but apparently this chick had a shit ton of people and like was making a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
So you have, I don't know. It's just like on one side I'm like, oh, I bet some hot lesbians are looking at me, or I bet some, kind of thing. Like, you think about it, it's like you think about the good things, but then I'm like over here, I'm like, I know a majority of the people that are going to be looking at my shit are going to be nasty old men.
Yep.
Or nasty frat boys that are probably going to be school shooters.
Well, essentially what this
You know what I
means,
mean?
what this is a
Like, that's what
battle
I think
between is the battle is between employers' rights to hire who they want, right? And freedom of speech / expression of an employee. And so for me as an American, I believe both sides have rights in this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And so this is a very sticky thing. I believe as long as someone is not being discriminated against because of race, creed, sexual orientation, nationality, etc., as long as an employer is not discriminating based on that, they should be able to hire whoever they want. At the same time, I don't think somebody's OnlyFans career or account should be grounds for termination.
I agree. Like I said, everyone can keep their nose where it fucking belongs. If it wasn't for phones back in the day, you would have never known. And I mean, like, who cares?
It's just
like you can
for
be like
me,
protect the children.
If you're doing a good job, and your merits within your profession are good, that should be enough, right?
Yeah. And I mean, literally, like, man, I've thought about it a lot, but I'm like, I could never. I can't, because I know how much money people fucking make off of it. And I will say though, like, it does, like, my generation, I do see like a lot of people like just doing it because they don't want to do anything else and they don't want to improve themselves or like grow as a human being. I will say that sucks. I hate that I don't know, like, I'm not trying to say there's anything bad or good about it. I think it feels way too accessible. It really does. It feels like it's a whole thing. Like, there should be a like porn award show. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yep. It's that big, and that just makes the problem so much worse. You know what I mean? Because I don't think it's healthy necessarily, like, for your mental health, or like, I mean, it can be, but for a lot of people it ends up not being,
right?
You know?
Yeah.
And how accessible it is makes it a lot worse. And I don't know, I feel like a lot of people just do it and like don't even think about it either. Like, it's like something major you're doing.
It goes back to the philosophy that sex sells, right? And it always will.
And it's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate, but at the same time, right? If you can flaunt it, flaunt it. If you can make a life out of it, then make a life out of it, right? Like, when I was younger, I knew of a few people who were putting themselves through college just by stripping.
Oh yeah, I know a few.
You know, and I mean, that's what this is to me. It's the same concept. I don't know, man. I just feel like I think the stigma is too much focused on education, right? Like,
yeah,
like
I agree on that.
You can't be an OnlyFans model and teach children, and I disagree fully.
It's always protect the children.
And yet, you look at the same kind of thing, and this is happening a lot too, Katie. It's a completely different subject, but it's kind of swept under the rug more than OnlyFans, is all of these teachers, many of them female in nature, that are targeting children and having sex with them. How many times have you seen this, where you have a gorgeous or good-looking woman who is a teacher?
A lot.
Who is having a sexual relationship with a 4th grader or a 7th grader or a 9th grader. And then the predominant freaking opinion out there, especially from straight, white, cisgendered men, is, wow.
Go get him,
Go get him, brother. Oh, I wish I could get someone like that, right? Like, it's like, oh, she's so pretty. No, she's a goddamn pedophile is what she is.
And unfortunately, that's probably how those kids feel. But then as they grow older and look at it, they're going to be disgusted.
So those kids are traumatized just as much as any other child that is predatored on. They're all traumatized. I don't care. Like, oh, oh, you have a good-looking teacher you had sex with,
It
and
might
you're.
take you a while to realize it, but it's gonna fuck
But
you up
my
at some
point
point.
is we're throwing these OnlyFans models under the bus, and yet these good-looking teachers who are targeting children to have sexual relations with are just passed off like it's normal, right?
I also feel like those are, like you said, so both of those things you see a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why. Maybe they're trying to
Yeah.
link the two. I don't
Man,
know.
it just drives me nuts, like the double standard, where, it's okay. It's okay, and I've heard this, and I know you have too, because, like, we're following this stuff. It's okay for a good-looking young female teacher to target and prey
Yeah.
on a young child in a sexual nature, but it's completely not okay for a guy teacher to do the same thing. And then you put that onto OnlyFans as well. It's not okay for a female teacher to be an OnlyFans model. Completely okay for a male teacher to be an OnlyFans model. What is this? Why are we allowing this double standard, man?
It's really, really weird.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad.
I mean,
All of
I
it.
was always told that, you protect the children, you protect all the children from all predators. Doesn't matter who
Yeah.
they are or what they look like. It
Yep.
doesn't matter, period. Like, I don't know, man.
And what people need to realize when we say protect the children, protect your children,
Hmm.
right? Your
I
children.
mean, I look at it like
Let
this,
everyone else
bro.
worry about
Like, if you
their.
if you are the parent of a 7th grade boy and you found out that his biology teacher, who's a 34-year-old female, is having sex with your 7th grade boy, and you're okay with that, then you need to go to prison along with the teacher.
Maybe longer.
Yeah. I'm a parent, I'm a grandparent. I would not be okay with that. Absolutely not. That is not
I
something I'm bragging about with my guy friends at the Super Bowl party. It's not something that I'm doing. But it exists. That exists out there. Like, that's just
and
disgusting
it's
to
very
me.
unfortunate too that it's not acknowledged a
It is.
lot.
I agree.
That boys or men can be victims too,
Yeah, and
and women can
well,
be perpetrators.
it goes back to the double standard. Again, I'm using
Yep.
those words a lot. The double standard of a lot of sexual partners for a guy is a thing to brag about, but a lot of
Mhm.
sexual partners for a girl, and she's a slut and a whore and
Yeah.
all of those things. The double standard is absolutely disgusting, and
Yeah.
if it's just gross, bro. And it goes back to misogyny, right? It has to. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I only
We've
get
touched
this mad because I have daughters, right? Like, like it actually pisses me off.
pissed me off too.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, yeah. How do you guys feel out there about everything we've just talked about? How do you feel about the double standards between males and females? And what can we do to correct those things? How do you feel about OnlyFans models and even people that are not modeling on there, people that are actually making porn on there? Do you feel like they should be okay to work wherever the hell they want? Is that freedom of expression or not?
Mm-hmm.
Right? How much justification does the employer have to decide what you and others do outside of work?
These are the questions.
Those are the questions. Comment down below how you feel about that.